Okay, there we go. Live. How's it going, everybody?
Hey guys,
All one person watching this, I suppose.
that's probably one of us.
Well, I don't think it counts me. Probably counts you, though.
Maybe, but I don't have it on.
Well, once you. Yeah, well, someone's gotta help me watch the chat, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm going to it.
Good. I'll just get this shared to Twitter.
All
You
right.
sound tired.
Oh, just a little. Oh God, that episode of that attempt at re-recording the episode of Red versus Blue after heavy drinking.
Okay, yeah. Just to get everyone up to speed, right before we started the show, Matt was telling me in Slack that Rooster Teeth tried re-recording an was it episode 1?
Episode 2.
Episode 2 of Red versus Blue, but how exactly did that go, dude?
Well, it was the original voice actors after 2 hours of heavy drinking. How do you think that went?
It's either the most hilarious thing or the worst thing.
It was basically a trash fire because they're all
Was it
trying
a
to.
funny track fire at least?
Oh yeah, it was. Bernie was getting angry because nobody was cooperating. Jeff goes and lies on the floor. Jason, who voices Tucker, went to the bathroom, never came back. And Gus tried leaving, but Miles had to physically restrain him and bring him back to his chair. And
Uh-huh.
Matt, aka Sarge, when he's drunk, he's probably got the worst case of ADD because he cannot concentrate on his lines. All he wanted to do is tell the story of a barbecue.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, so you got Bernie, who's pretty much the his character at this point, angry. You have Jeff doing the Griff, which is going going in, laying on the ground, and being lazy. And I think this is the version of Drunk Gus that you'd probably attach to Brian.
Well, yeah, I
Because
don't
he
know.
got
I'm just having a hard time believing that last part is all.
which one?
That Brian is like Gus when he's drunk.
Well, that's the way you probably basically. Well, probably. Basically, it's the whole antisocial. I don't want to be here now. You're late on this. Therefore I have to go. I'm leaving.
That I can see being like Brian.
Yeah, getting angry at uncontrollable things. And I'm not saying anything about a couple of drinks kind of drunk. I'm talking about entire beer bottles.
My lord.
That's basically the cast of Red versus Blue when they get drunk. They also throw their bottles. So every 5 seconds you hear a crash and glass breaking.
Oh boy, I don't want to have to be the person who had to clean that up. That just sounds awful.
Well, Miles had to do, I think, because whenever it seems like whenever there's drunk people around, he ends up being the responsible one.
Well, someone's got to do it, right?
Yep. Bernie would do it, but he's too busy getting angry.
I gotta want. It's like if you said when Bernie gets drunk, he becomes Church,
I think at this point,
which makes me.
well, basically these guys. Normally, when he's drunk, based on a podcast, he's a happy kind of drunk. Such as that time when he started handing out popcorn to people and telling them that they have to go because they're too drunk.
Eh. But this time, just because everyone's just being a fucking goof, Bernie just loses his shit.
Yep. It's actually quite funny how Drunk Bernie has also spawned a meme.
Really?
Yeah. All because of the time that Bernie had hid his car keys in a cabinet, and then right after he was done, right after he sobered up, he couldn't find the keys. So it just became funny how Drunk Bernie's probably tried to kill him.
Wow.
Yep. Or he's so much of a responsible driver that responsible drunk that he'll hide them even when drunk.
How did the first one go? Because I don't think I saw that.
The first one? The first what?
Yeah.
The first what?
The first time they tried doing this.
Oh no, this was a special video for sponsors during a sponsorship drive.
No, but you said this was up. But you said this was up. They haven't done this before then?
No, this was an attempt that Bernie wanted to do for a long time. And as it turns out, there's a reason why they shouldn't do it. Because when they get drunk, they're just awful.
So I guess the lesson learned is no more doing drunk hungry recordings then.
Nope, because nobody everyone was willing to go and do the drinking part, but nobody wanted to do the recording.
Well, of course everyone is gonna be up for the drinking part. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but this is one of those not so great things, not so great ideas that Bernie ended up remembering that he has
Well,
assholes for friends.
one of those things that sounds like it. It's one of those things that sounds good on paper, but just in practice is just doomed to fail.
Yeah, but in the end, it turned out to be that what they didn't show, based on from what I've seen on a podcast, was that afterwards they just hung out because they're old friends whose lives haven't become too busy for anyone to see each other anymore, even though they work in the same building.
Wow.
Yep.
That's kind of sobering.
Yep. And Gorgonite Emissary is here.
Oh,
and
hi. What's he saying?
He's hearing double.
He's hearing double. Oh, an echo.
And apparently we are both echoing.
Okay, I turned down the volume on my end. How does that sound?
If only there was a timestamp on the live chat. Curse you.
Yeah, too bad there isn't. Yeah, too bad there isn't. You'd think with all the things that YouTube likes to implement, they'd at least put in a couple useful They would put in at least a couple useful features, right?
Maybe they should start implementing competence.
Definitely, yeah. Although I did catch a look at what features they plan on adding to the new YouTube beta studio. And it sounds like, and they are gonna like have ways of you tracking your analytics in real time. I mean, I almost said rear instead of real. Fuck. I think that's what it said. Don't quote me on that because I'd have to read because I only skimmed it.
Well, okay, now it sounds fair. So it might be whatever you did.
All I did was turn down the volume.
Yeah, that's probably your volume that's doing it. Way to go.
Well, I fixed it, all right, so everyone's happy.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, comics-wise, apparently DC is doing Ruby and Genlock comics.
Okay. Writer and artist, please.
No idea yet.
If any.
No idea yet. I don't know what to think about it.
You know, all I gotta say is, like, whoever's doing this, like, the writing team better be someone from Rooster Teeth, because they're, like, I would not trust anyone else to do that show right. And I'm speaking as someone who's not really that big a fan of Ruby.
Yeah, and you haven't seen Genlock yet.
Yeah, I have. But, like, I don't hate Ruby, but it's just like something. It's not something I'm really all that interested in. I mean, like, I think I watched it like up till the 3rd season. Like, let's think. What was the last big plot point I'm remembering? Oh, Blake went back to her hometown, and that's the last thing I remember.
Well, the bear writing for that show came from the manga.
Wait, what?
Oh, Japan loved Ruby so much that they put out a series of manga. There's a single volume that's basically a retelling of the trailers, and then an anthology series with each book focusing on a character.
Wow.
Yep. They write the characters better, I think. They actually give them some human emotions. But then again, I think there's also a problem with having a web series is that you don't have a whole lot of time to develop the characters in each episode.
Yeah, you've only got so much time you can devote.
Yeah, first season was 12 minutes at the most. 5 minutes, yeah, it's a standard time. So, but the show really caught on in Japan.
I'm not surprised.
It got licensed for a dubbing by Warner Brothers.
Like I said, I'm not surprised it caught on in Japan.
Yeah, it has all the elements to make it successful in Japan.
Makes me think that it might actually, the Changeling might actually have a shot out there.
Yep, and Gorgonite Emissary. Ruby is completely scratch built. Monty Oum built the characters and the models for the first 3 seasons. So
really,
yeah, it's Ruby was the first completely original animated series for Rooster Teeth.
Wow, that is fucking cool.
Yep. they used. I actually have the animation software they used for it, Poser 3D, which
I don't
that
know. I could have.
well, that software is actually really good. Is a really good time saver since it has some. You can animate something and then store in a library to use later.
Oh yeah, it's got its advantages, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, right now the only ongoing series that uses Halo, which isn't so much dealing as they were given it, given license to use it by Bungie and Microsoft, but they're just doing their own thing right now. And besides, the company brings in enough money to hire Michael B. Jordan for Genlock. So
That is
if
true.
if they if they're doing anything like taking another video game and using it to create another series, they might have bigger. I don't think they would have been. They would be here right now because machinima is dying. It's a dying breed of web series. The the whole thing about machinima was that it was easy for independent video content creators to create their own series, but with all the resources we have right now, it's just as easy to make completely original content.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, didn't PewDiePie get his start on Machinima?
I think so. It was either that or wait, that was Let's Plays. He,
Really?
yeah. I think he was a big Minecraft streamer.
He was playing like a lot of survival horror games, but back in the day, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah. By the way, you want to know how to traumatize the Ruby audience?
Oh.
Brian Michael Bendis writing Ruby.
That's cruel.
Oh, God.
That is just cruel, man.
Mm-hmm. A much more traumatic experience for a series that lost its creator.
So wait, is that for real?
What? No. Brian Michael Bendis, no.
Oh,
I hope not,
God.
at least. I hope not.
Yeah, it's like, man, like I said, I'm not the biggest Ruby fan out there, but I don't think that I wouldn't. That's kind of something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, dude.
Yeah. I think they're going to be communicating with Ursa Teeth over how the stories will go, so they'll actually have something there.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that if they have Brian Michael Bendis writing it, he's gonna go rogue.
I hope they do.
They had creative control over the Ruby manga too, so they weren't the writers, the creators didn't have complete control over what they were writing. Just enough to make these manga somewhat canon.
Hmm. So I guess I got nothing really to worry about, I suppose.
Well, I wouldn't say. I don't think you'd have much to worry about with it. I mean, can you imagine if they got Mark Wade to do it?
Like I said, they're probably going to screen a lot. They're probably going to screen all the potential writers they get. So
yeah, but the thing is, they try to keep out of controversies. So they might not know what's going on with Mark Wade. Maybe if someone were to mention the lawsuit, then they're just gonna go, yeah, no, we pass.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. You're pro.
What?
No, I mean, like, you're probably right that they're. You're probably right that because they keep out of the they keep out of the controversy, that like they'll probably not know about what they may not know about what the shit that Mark Wade's currently in if he gets hired. Although, like, I don't know. They seem to be pretty good when it comes to quality control. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll get that Akira Yoshida guy, who is Stevie Sapolsky.
Even honestly, could they even get him because he's current? Because I'm pretty sure he has a contract with Marvel that's pretty exclusive.
Yeah. I think, honestly, though, I think that if Sapolsky was still a writer and out for contract freelancers, I think he might be good for it because he was the guy who spearheaded the Marvel manga verse. So he could bring in something to bring something to the table when it comes to properties that are based on Japanese anime like Ruby and Genlock.
I don't know. Bring it back to when you said that Ruby caught on big in Japan. Like, you kind of see that being able to happen for Changeling, maybe?
It's possible.
No.
Yeah,
I do kind of have an insider out in Japan.
Yeah, try it.
Maybe
you might bring in the Sojo crowd.
Well, there is like only one snag.
And that is
the person I'm thinking of, like, even though she's living in Japan, like this was the person I sought out to possibly do translations.
Yeah.
Properties. Well, she's not a native Japanese speaker.
Okay, so that might be a problem.
Yeah.
But
yeah, in her own words, like, her kanji is not much better than a third grader's, and she's still kind of learning it. So she suggested to me that I'd be better off getting like a native Japanese person who speaks English.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
So, like, while she could talk to people. The
written language is a lot more complicated.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the snag. Like, she could probably tell people about it. She just couldn't, like, do it's just getting past the language. The book just has to get past the language barrier. Is the point I'm trying to get to? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a language. It's a problem that we all have with reaching a foreign audience. Is that whole language barrier? And it's not actually. It's not just the language barrier. One of the things that Steve was surprised about was the lack of interest in Japan for Red versus Blue, because there's a big gamer culture in Japan, and it's possible that
Yeah,
and they thought that
but like, do the Japanese really like first-person shooters? That's the question.
they probably do. Not exactly.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, but Japanese tastes are very different from American. Like shooters do big in the States.
Yeah, well, there was a fan base in Japan for Red vs. Blue, but they found out that the reason why it was so small was because a lot of the jokes are based on
Oh, that's
communication.
Of course. Yeah, that all makes sense. Like, yeah, it's the cultural barrier.
Yep. RWBY, man, when it premiered in Japan, got a big screen premiere. So it's really interesting how it all comes together.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to say that Japanese special edition box sets look pretty nice.
Of RWBY?
Oh yeah. They've got at the Rooster Teeth store. They're selling the box sets. I'll bring it up. But the first set has a guidebook to the series and postcards drawn up by several prominent manga artists.
Like who?
I'll bring it up right now. So, yeah, but one of them is also the artist for the one-shot manga. Come on, internet. Now I could see what near below freezing temperature will do to this.
Shouldn't near below freezing mean that electronics would function at peak capacity?
I'm talking about the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I've got Comcast. They suck.
Oh, please. You want to talk about bad internet? Try CenturyLink.
I don't think I have that. I have the option here.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Out here, out where I live, the two choices are either CenturyLink or Comcast, and trust me, Comcast is the better option.
Yeah, bad. I'm gonna say Gorgon Emissary. That is a very bad idea. Nobody should be subjected to Joss Whedon's, nor to be hustled to him.
Oh, that little thing he put up on Twitter. Ha ha ha. I know what he's talking about.
Yep. The internet never forgets. I don't see why
it does not.
I can't see why he doesn't think.
Because he's not. Because who knows? Who knows why he thinks that? I honestly could not fathom why he thinks that.
Because he's an idiot. He's an idiot. That's why. He doesn't think about these things. So it's just why? And why not? I just there are some times where I have to wonder if Josh Whedon is just doesn't have the capacity to think about what he tweets.
You're probably right.
He probably thought that tweet because he had the I think he is trying to show his disgust for the word, but also trying to say that it's a what he did in such a way that it made it sound like he really liked it in an unnatural way.
He just, yeah, like he just really, really did not think about what he was tweeting. That's all I can say.
Yep. It's for the most part, I think he lives in a bubble.
Of course he does. He's a Hollywood insider.
Yep.
To him, it's like there's no world out. There's like the world outside is like it's like something he's heard of. It's like, but he's never experienced.
Nope. Well, I think it's funny how how far he's fallen from grace because of how quickly he was attacked by feminists.
Yeah, I do not feel bad for him one bit.
Apparently, they didn't forget about how he tried to give Black Widow some humanity in Age of Ultron. You know the story I told the story about how she can't have kids because the Russians decided that she needed to be the ultimate weapon, so she couldn't be distracted by the possibility of having a baby.
Wow.
Which it actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that would be done to spies, such as on the flip side, you have a male spy who has been made for has been who goes to the exact same thing, and you don't see any feminists complaining about it because it's happening to a man. But when it's a woman, oh no, can't have that. Can't have them going through the same thing a man's going through.
Yeah. Nope. Nope, indeed.
And I agree, Gorgonite. That would be 99% of Silicon Valley too.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think it's anyone who hates the rich while also rich themselves.
That is just hilarious to me. Like, you ever notice like how some of the most hardcore or left wingers who are like all about helping the poor and fuck the rich, they always tend to come to from wealthy families.
Yeah.
That's always something I found quizzical. Like, you hate the privileged and you come from a privileged background. Like,
how crazy is that?
Not only that, like they don't even. Well, not just that. It's just like they don't even get what it's like to not grow up privileged.
No, they have they grew up with the privilege to criticize their own privilege.
I like that shit. I mean, like I'll be the first to admit I did grow up middle class, but I haven't had money for like a long time. So
yeah, I know the feeling.
Look, once you've had to hoof it on your own and try and survive, like I said, you kind of gain an appreciation
For money.
like having your own earning your own money, and you actually learn the value of working for it.
Yep, unlike the government.
Duh.
Which I'm going to say that it's always odd to see these these comics that are trying to be political. They'll go for something that says that their worldview is right, rather than going in and actually looking for what the real problem is.
Yeah, well, they're all those heavily political comics. They're just doomed to like age badly. Like, I mean, like I've pointed it out just how Brian Edward Hill's American Carnage, that thing is doomed to die basically right after Trump is out of, because with that, after Trump is no longer president, like that book just doesn't have a purpose anymore.
No, it really doesn't. They like to think that it's got the ability to last beyond Trump, but I don't get why they don't get how times change.
Well, not just that. I mean, does anyone really think that they're going to change any MAGA people's minds with that?
I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's really a point of what they're doing. It's all about fitting their worldview into a comic rather than looking at reality.
It's just like I'm just trying to understand. It's just like I said, like Brian Edward Hill, like he can write good comics, but it's like I'm looking at American Carnage, I'm wondering who is this made for? And about the only person I can think of is it's made for himself.
Probably because he wants to make the book that he really wants to make.
So like, okay, then here's like the flip side of that though. It's like you look at Killmonger, and that's him actually taking a long, hard look at himself, actually doing a little self-reflection, and recognizing all the parts of himself that did not make him a good person, and how he's not just that, he's also looking at the kind of person that could have made him into had he not tried to change. So
I think as much as we like to think that Vertigo these days is 100% creator-owned comics, let's just remember that Vertigo was brought into DC proper, so now the DC editors are in charge of the comics that Vertigo puts out.
Yeah, but would they really? I don't know that they're even really being that heavy-handed with any of the team. I mean, just look at any given one of them. Like, do you believe for 1 second Goddess Mode was edited? That Border Town was edited?
No, but I do believe that it was they were brought in to be the politically edgy brand.
And they're doing it horribly.
Mm-hmm. It's so horrible that you forget that the Sandman related comics are part of the Vertigo lineup.
Or Preacher or Hellblazer or
Well, no, there's new Sandman comics out.
oh fuck me.
Yep.
Jeez.
They created a bunch of new titles for the Sandman universe, which Neil Gaiman is part of. So I'm thinking about. I think I'll just try out one volume of each series first, just to see what they're like. But so far, none of the YouTubers are doing reviews on them, so I think that might be a good thing.
Maybe. Then who knows? Could just be that because Neil Gaiman sort of kept himself out of controversy pretty well.
He's not writing
Well,
them.
it's just yeah.
He's just overseeing them.
Right, then I got nothing. I don't have any tinfoil hat theories at all then.
It's possible that they realize that Sandman is their legacy series, so they need to have some respect to it.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll go with that. That's something that makes sense.
Yeah. On the flip side, it might not just be their politically edgy side of the comics, but also the place where you put the no talents, such as Zoe Quinn got put there, Max Visaggio got put there.
And so, like, what are they slapping Brian Edward Hill to make it look like it had some credibility?
Yeah, because they didn't want to leave Sandman to hold that by itself.
I suppose that makes kind of sense.
Yep. It's gotta say that it's probably not gonna end very well for Vertigo.
You think? It's like it's
How-
got nothing that made the original Vertigo special.
Yep. But they also got rid of the editor in chief that made Vertigo what it was.
Also true.
I mean, say what you want about Sully Bond. She might not have been someone who I don't know much about her, except that she was the one that put Fables on the course it went, and did a minimal amount of editing to it, and allowed the creators to tell the story they wanted.
She only edited what needed to be edited.
Yeah, and what did they get? They got a New York Times best-selling series and 14 Eisner Awards.
Yeah, they got, like I said, they got Hellblazer, they got Preacher, They got Sandman. They got Fables. God, I'm pretty sure there's even more that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, fortunately, Fables ended when it did. I don't see the writer of the series lasting at Vertigo for very long, especially when his political leanings are more on the right.
Oh, you mean Bill Williams?
Willingham. Yeah.
I think it was Williams.
Don't know, but he's also pretty controversial with feminists because of the
Jeez.
writing female characters panel from a few years back.
Gee, I wonder why.
What's made them screech even more was the fact that he called out a heckler for what she was.
That's funny.
Yep. And they wonder why people have a hard time trusting the Mary Sue.
I can't imagine why.
Because they're crazy over there. Uh-oh. I think I might have triggered someone.
Oh,
if
actually, no. If anything, you've limited your audience. Now you can't get the crazy cat lady market.
Oh, God damn it. No. Please come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I promise, Matt. That's not that much of a. That's only kind of a misogynist.
Yes, that's why I'm gonna write relatable female characters. Oh wait, that's misogynist on its own. Oops. I'm giving them weaknesses.
Yeah, not only that. Oh, not only that, I'm pretty sure Althea's got more than a couple character flaws too.
Huh. You know, the interesting thing is that reading more of Brandon Sanderson's the Stormlight archives, I think I have an idea for our characters for Mythoverse cosplay.
Oh?
Yeah, okay, so in the series, there's this group called the Knights Radiant, and basically, what they are is a group of broken people who refuse to back down and continue to fight the good fight, no matter what kind of problems that are going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think fits our characters because they are the broken kind of characters who continue on despite the hardships they face. And oh no, I lost a sexual predator's Gorgonite emissary. How can I get them back? Actually, that's like
I got nothing.
You know something? I don't think I want them back.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell if earlier Shane was joking about when I was talking about him making sure he did not at Joss Whedon to market Changeling.
I think he was
said,
speaking.
Don't. And then I told him how feminist, and his response was, "Careful! Don't limit your audience."
I think he was speaking as a PR guy. which I think I trust his PR advice a lot more than a certain someone that it's going to be incredibly controversial and will probably get a bunch of.
Well, for one, Shane at least does it for a living.
Yeah. And oh no, more money in Gillette's pocket, despite the fact that I think that a lot of men are going for either cheaper razor blades or Dollar Shave Club.
Buddy of mine back in Michigan actually showed up a bunch of Dollar Shave stuff he bought for all of $20. I'm actually probably going to get some.
Yeah, that $20 would probably only buy you about what? A couple of Gillette brand razor blades.
They are incredibly overpriced, aren't they?
Yeah, because they're a named product.
It's like buying a Rolex. You're not buying the watch. You're buying the brand.
Yeah, which is why
when you get right down to it, a Rolex is the stuff that goes into a Rolex. It's not that expensive.
Nope, but it's all about the prestige of having one.
Fuck, I've got a watch I bought at Walmart. Well, that was on clearance for all of $5, and it's still a good watch. Even if the crystal's a little bit cracked, I mean, you can see it.
Yeah.
This thing has lasted pretty good. Like, I think I'll have had this going on 3 years. Years pretty soon.
Well, yeah, it's funny how the name brands don't have a whole lot of lasting power to them.
That is very, yeah, it is. Like,
I mean, look at
yeah.
Look at iPhone. It falls, it breaks. You lose $100 for repair. Android phone, you have to drop it 100 times before it breaks.
Yeah, fuck my S9 at least. My S9 at least lasted at least 9 months before it started crapping out in the charging. Now it's a little. I have to kind of push in the cord to get it to charge. And it can only charge on slow.
Oh god.
But it lasts for like 9 months, I think. So yeah. Although I'm not going to pretend I didn't have something to do with it. It's very possible I did. I'm not sure.
Oh, geez. Just read that in Minnesota right now, it's actually in Minnesota 3 hours ago, it was negative 19 degrees. And they don't have a state of emergency.
Wow. Yay, them.
Yeah, they don't have a governor who's a complete idiot.
I don't know. I haven't heard good things about Mark Dayton.
Well, we have Gretchen Whitmer.
You know, I think I can remember like the last gubernatorial race out in Michigan. There were people I was friends with at the time. I think one of them said he wanted to vote for Rick Snyder.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
What was wrong with Rick Snyder?
So, a couple of years back, we had a vote on a new bill that would pass that would raise the gas price by 15 cents. The people said no.
I remember what you're talking about. Yeah, this was the bill they passed even though the Michigan residents said they didn't want it.
Yep. And that is why people don't then trust Republicans enough to have another Republican governor, especially not the one that was his attorney general.
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Snyder running as an independent?
Republican.
Was he? Couldn't remember. There was another Republican candidate at the time.
No, he was Republican. I think they were doing the primaries for the candidacy.
Jeez. Yeah, I remember that so differently.
Yeah, but I think it goes to show that nobody trusts either side, so that's why the balance of power isn't completely Democrat.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Washington ain't so lucky because Seattle makes it pretty much a guarantee that only Democrats get elected here.
Yep, because your state sucks.
No, it's not. My state doesn't suck. It's just Seattle sucks.
What kind of state has one city determine where it goes?
Pretty much all of them.
Not really, because we haven't had a straight Republican or Democrat as governor.
I don't know. It's just because about the only way I can see sort of like balancing the scales on a state level is putting in like a state level electoral college, which to my knowledge, there isn't a state that does that.
No, and because of how demonized it is on the federal level, I don't think there ever will be one.
Yeah, well, just so you. Oh yeah, they want to demonize the electoral college, and that's the. And guess what? The electoral college is what keeps the country from being a one-party dictatorship by default.
Yep.
Honestly, electoral college is why why the voting power doesn't lie with strictly New York, or doesn't strictly lie with New York or Los Angeles.
Yep.
Not that anyone seems to care.
Nope. So go ahead and move away from politics because comics. I thought it was interesting how Fables ended with issue 150, but issue 150 is basically volume 22.
Really?
Yep. Bill Willingham basically wrote an entire volume as a single issue.
Really?
Yep. Tying up all the loose ends and all that. Figuring out showing how Bigby's kids ended up. In fact, one of them was revealed to be a big spoiler.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What did that mean for the universe then?
Well, basically, the story of Fables. First of all, do you want me to tell spoilers?
I don't know if I'm going to be I don't know how long it'll be before I get around to it, so I don't know if it's that big of a deal to me.
Okay, so spoiler alert for the people who are listening now and in the future. I'm just making certain. Basically, Bigby's kids are part of a prophecy of the seasons.
Really?
Which you hit. It's basically called the Summer Prophecy, and each of the 7 lines refers to one of Bigby's kids. The 6th one is basically and the 6th one is the 6th will judge the rest, which the 6th kid becomes a writer and authors a series of books on the history of fables, which is basically the events of the comic. And he marries the Lady of the Lake.
Huh.
And it all ends on a much happier note with the 2 sisters. Basically, Rose Red visits Snow White and Bigby for a family reunion, and let's just say that there's so many that it's not so much of a family reunion as you think of it. It's a family reunion of the kids, the grandkids, the great grandkids, the great great grandkids, and all that.
Wow.
Yep. Because the characters in Fables are ageless.
Here's something about. I've read a couple of the early issues of Fables. Something I want to know is, did they ever like reveal who the big enemy was? Or is that always like something that was just kind of like left off to the side?
Okay, break up a little.
Say what?
You broke up a little. Could you repeat your question?
Did they ever? I remember like in the early issues of Fables, like they kind of alluded to like to this big enemy that forced all the Fables out of their homes.
Oh yeah, they did.
Did they ever reveal who that guy was, or was he just like always a mystery?
Oh no, they fight a war against him, and I think it was volume 12 when they eventually fight back. And funny enough, magic doesn't do much against bullets. Basically, what happens is that the citizens of Fabletown decide to fight back, and this time they're going to fight back with technology. So basically, they start training their people on in marksmanship, how to use guns, and they invade the enemy's territory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the big enemy turns out to be Geppetto.
Wait, Geppetto?
Yep. What caused his rise was the fact that he kidnapped the Blue Witch, the Blue Fairy, and used her to animate an entire army of wooden soldiers, which he used as an endless army. And Gorgonites, I think, to be honest, I think that it might have been in there that Bigby was destined to kill his kids, but there were some moments where you could tell that some plot lines didn't really lead up to, or that were abandoned just because it felt like, well, either because of copyright issues or it wouldn't have worked out well. Such as they wanted Fables to be in every country, but I think the original enemy was supposed to be Peter Pan, but because Peter Pan still held a trademark, they couldn't sell. Basically, Peter Pan wasn't in the public domain in England, so they couldn't get away with selling it there.
Really?
Yep. Next best thing, Geppetto. And here's something and there's one line that Bigby says to Geppetto that would probably get anyone who's far left really upset when he compares the people of Fabletown to Israel.
Not just on the left, it would also get people on the far right mad too.
Basically, it's an equal opportunity piss off kind of line. But basically, his entire reasoning for that was that Bigby admires Israel because they're a small country that's surrounded by enemies. And the way they've been able to survive is to dig down and fight back, be tough. And that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'm not gonna comment just because Israel's like one of those things you're not allowed to have an opinion on.
Yeah. Well, because plot thread leading back to the Holocaust.
It's just like you can't criticize Israel for things that even arguably does wrong without having being thrown anti-Semite at you.
Yeah, so we're gonna move away from that potential trespass and go on about how how they have one of the janitors as this guy, this really pathetic character.
One of the janitors.
One of the guys that was consistently put into community service because of his ability to break the law, but he breaks the law, but not a very serious felony, but the kind that gets you in trouble nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he turns out to have a very tragic past, much like a lot of the other Fables during the war, such as let's just say that he witnesses something to his wife and daughters that no one should be forced to watch.
Yeah, I can pretty much guess what you're getting at.
And that was because of his curse, where if he's startled, he turns into a frog. Basically, the whole reason why he was kept getting punished for the felonies like he was Bigby's version of mercy, so that he could stay busy and not remember any of that. Well, there's a storyline where he goes off on a quest and restores his kingdom.
brings me back to a video that Zach made.
Yeah.
I talked about like how SJW writers seem to hate redemption stories.
Yeah, it's because they're not capable of forgiving, and nor are they able to
It's like, well,
understand.
they don't believe in forgiveness.
Yeah, they don't seem to understand that redemption is part of the great epics. There's always some kind of redemption for a character in a storyline.
Yeah, we all want to try to do better.
Yeah.
Even when we screw up, we all want to at least we want to try and make things. I think it kind of comes back from that sort of Christian ethics system where it's like you have to accept the blame and the consequences for your actions, and now your job is afterwards to try to be better afterward.
Yep.
Try not to do it again. That's the whole point. That's the whole point behind it, is that even if you screw up, there's always the chance that you can still do better.
Yeah, in a way, that's why a lot of these really. That's why SJW books always fail. They don't understand how. That's one of the things, especially with the fact they don't know how to people very well.
Well, not just that. It's like they always try to write their characters that are as basically idealized versions of themselves, or at least what they think themselves are.
I watched an interesting video the other night, and it explained the difference of why you can't lump Superman as a Mary Sue character in comparison to SJW characters. It's that the world does not bend to Superman. Not everything he does. What?
It does not. In fact, if anything, Superman does everything to bend into the world.
No, basically,
that's basically the whole. That's kind of why Lex hates him so much, because he looks at Superman. He's like, "You've got the power of a god. You could do anything you wanted. You could rule the world. Nothing could stop you."
Well, here's the thing.
Instead, you try to be like everyone else.
Well, what it was getting at was the world does not bend to Superman. Therefore, no matter how much Superman tries to do everything right, he's not able to get everything right.
Well, that's just that. It's like he can't be everywhere at once.
Yep. Mary Sue characters, the universe bends to them. No matter how much everything they do perfectly. Everyone loves them. The universe does nothing to screw that up. It's just boring.
You're not kidding.
For example, the reason why people hate Wesley Crusher isn't because he's played by Wil Wheaton. That came later. But also because of the fact that he represents the idea that this kid is smarter than the best and the brightest of Starfleet. But it's not even that. It's also that the best and the brightest of Starfleet are dumbed down so that this kid could have his day.
Pretty much. I mean, like you kind of. I mean, like that like Wesley was kind of made to be like how Gene Roddenberry envisioned himself as a young man.
It's possible.
I think I heard that somewhere. Can't remember where.
I mean, his middle name is Wesley.
Well, just saying, there's there's a lot of evidence to support it.
Yep. Interesting thing that I've read from a book, a series of books on the making of Star Trek. Apparently, William Shatner pitched some scripts to Roddenberry.
Mm-hmm.
According to the people who knew Roddenberry, the reason why they are that bad, but because Shatner was a better writer than Roddenberry.
Holy crap! Really?
Yep. Funny how that turns out, doesn't it? Isn't it?
That's just wow. Yeah, that is fun. That is funny. It's just like kind of talk about spiteful.
Yeah. Roddenberry was not the perfect human,
No, he wasn't.
despite the fact that he had great PR to suggest otherwise.
Actually, that's kind of funny to me because like he turned down Shatner's scripts because Shatner wrote better than he did, and yet the best episodes of Trek are not written by Gene.
Well, not really written. Not credited to Gene, because a lot of the original series scripts, the reason why the writers did not like the original series so much was because Gene Roddenberry would come in and rewrite their stuff.
So like, yeah, it's all like I know better than you.
Yeah, that's one of the big blow-ups that Harlan Ellison had with Star Trek, was that he wrote this script, told that they couldn't film his script because it put them over budget.
Mm-hmm.
So, and because this is Harlan Ellison, he's being incredibly difficult and stubborn about it. Which, yeah. So Roddenberry and a bunch of other writers went and rewrote the script, and the original script was more Spock heavy. Kirk did not. What ended up happening was that Kirk did not stop. I did not try to stop the villain of the story, who was not McCoy at the time, from preventing the love interest's death.
Mm-hmm.
So Spock had to do it. And that was all the buildup of Spock telling Kirk that she has to die. And all that, it was all supposed to lead up to Spock ending up having to do it, as opposed to Kirk. There was also some stuff in that script where it was it contradicted what continuity is today. The Vulcans never visited Earth. Instead, it was Earth that visited Vulcan and elevated them. So,
Wow.
So humanity is on the top. Is on the absolute top of the food chain in Star Trek of that version.
It is kind of good that Gene got that people sort of got Star Trek away from Gene because, like, I mean, he was good with the world building and everything, but it's like not so much the finer details.
Yeah, I know something.
What?
It was not all Gene Roddenberry who did the world building.
Really?
Yep, a lot of the Vulcan stuff came from Leonard Nimoy. The famous Vulcan salute came from Nimoy.
Okay, that I knew.
What?
I did know that.
Yeah, the Vulcan neck pinch, that was him.
Like, I knew that one too. Because, like, I think originally, like, I think I remember reading somewhere that he was initially supposed, in the original pitch, he was supposed to, I think, whack a guy with a gun or something, but Nimoy said that seems a bit barbaric for Spock.
Yeah, and the other Gene Coon, came up with the Prime Directive. And a lot of what came around with the world building happened with the writers. So the way I look at Gene Roddenberry right now is that he was the sales guy. He knew how to. What?
He was, in other words, he was more like Shane.
Yeah, except I think Shane has more shame than Roddenberry.
Well, for one, Shane hasn't didn't make up an alien race with a bunch of really weird sexual, with a bunch of weird sex stuff.
The point
what Gene originally was going to do with the Ferengi.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just be glad we never saw that.
There's a lot of things I'm glad that Gene Roddenberry never did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if Gene Roddenberry was still alive today, he'd be Me Too'd.
You're probably right. You are probably right. Given how it came out that he was sleeping around with the crew.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But also, it just kind of goes to show that your heroes are not perfect, man, and that's
no.
Actually, yeah, that's like another thing. Like with SJW heroes, they all like something that they always see them getting criticized for. They always write them to be perfect. Like,
yeah, that's the world. That's a world bending to them. And that's one of the big. That's why there's such a big controversy with Rey, because it seems like they're bending the galaxy to her. But honestly, the original concept for Rey, I think, should have stayed.
mm-hmm.
The Force Awakens was supposed to have her find Luke Skywalker halfway into the movie, and she learns how to use lightsaber, which leads up to her beating the big bad guy at the end in a lightsaber duel.
Yeah, it ends up being her beating Kylo Ren.
Yeah, and that was back when George Lucas was coming up with the pitch for the movie. Unfortunately, they don't understand story like Lucas did.
Even J.J. Abrams understood it better. I mean, like, say what you will about Force Awakens, at least like he was it's got. I mean, it's a hollow remake of A New Hope, but
Yeah, and also it's just uh, the fact that it resets the galaxy to what it was in A New Hope. That's what bugged me the most.
especially like again, they had they basically had 3 movies ready to go with the Thrawn books.
Yeah, but despite the fact that they love using him for the animated series, they
Yeah.
didn't want to do it. And you know, I'm gonna say the first draft was better than what was put out, and apparently, since based on what I've read from the art of the Force Awakens, the first draft would have Ray had what I just said about Ray finding Luke and learning how to use a lightsaber from him before facing down Kylo Ren.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been I looking at what I read in the art of the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. I wanted to see the movies that they were told that they wanted to tell before this
Yeah.
because those sounded interesting.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on. It's like, why you gotta lock all the good stuff away?
Yeah, I
What-
know what you mean, Gorgonite.
It's like, it's like, what the fuck? Is it DLC for? Oh, they're gonna introduce DLC into movies now?
Well, they introduced the patch with the Last Jedi novelization because the Last Jedi novelization is a perfect way to talk about more of Snoke's past and how he worked with Luke Skywalker. Yeah, Ryan Johnson had a part in the writing the adaptation, and he decided it was a good idea to have the big bad guy of a new trilogy work with Luke Skywalker.
Okay. How bad was it?
I erased it from my memory. It, I'm gonna say Gorgonite. Marketable and safe is relative for Disney since what they think of as marketable and safe, aka Last Jedi, ended up being a dumpster fire that killed Solo.
That is true. Well, actually, I think I don't know. Even if Solo had been good, it's just like that. The Last Jedi just soured left such a sour taste in everyone's mouth that it was pretty much doomed, no matter how good or bad it was. Its quality was ultimately irrelevant, if you ask me.
Yeah, but you know something funny about Last Jedi?
What?
The worst racist, misogynist monster on YouTube, Diversity in Comics, loved it. Your move now, Ryan Johnson. Your move now.
Well, Zach has a lot of questionable taste, to be honest.
Yes, but if he's the kind of monster that they say he is, he should not like. He should not have liked Last Jedi. He should be with EVS, making rant video after rant video about how awful Star Wars is.
Yeesh, how many of those has he made now? Is anyone keeping track?
I think he's got a Google alert for any kind of Star Wars controversy or anything that might seem like a Star Wars controversy.
That just looks like something that has to run out of steam eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say that this is not a good marketing ploy, but then again, that's what chasing outrage does.
Yeah, it's just like it's not a long-term success strategy.
And the fact is that they could have gone an Obi-Wan movie and they'd probably make a lot more than The Force Awakens because people love the Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. Like he pretty much got the character about as well as Alec Guinness did.
Yeah.
Or at least, let me put it this way: you can at least buy that he's acting like playing the character as a young Alec Guinness would have.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just, it's too bad they can't go with good decisions.
No, it is, but what you do?
Make up your own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I just kind of had I had a conversation in one of my podcast episodes with my buddy Dinte, and I think it was about Solo, like right when we knew Solo was coming out, and I was just talking about like how I had no desire to see it, and I think this was still kind of on the heels of how badly Last Jedi did.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a look at it and just thought to myself and just say, maybe it's just time for Star Wars to go away. Maybe it's just time for us to let it go. Like
it's time for Star Wars to die.
And I'm not saying that. I am not saying that because I've given up. There's nothing worth fighting for anymore. No, it's just because it had its moment. It did good. And it was a big part of a lot of people's. It's been a part of a lot of people's lives, mine included.
I think the biggest problem that Disney had was that it oversaturated the market with it. As soon as I heard them say that there's going to be a Star Wars movie every year, it's the reason why these movies did as well as they did was because they came out every other decade.
And it was like every other year.
No, there was a decade that passed between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, but it was like a year or two between. There was like a year or two between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, and I think it was like a similar sort of schedule with the originals too.
Yeah, it's the reason why the sequel trilogy did so well is because it's new. It was something special. Star Wars movies were coming back.
Well, not just that. It's still also you got to think about like how the original did so well, and it's just like it did it so well just because there wasn't anything else like it at the time.
No, but with the whole sales of the reason why Star Wars movies do as well as they do is because they do so little of them that it's hard to make Star Wars fans not want to go see them in theaters. Now they're doing a mass production of Star Wars films. Mm-hmm. They're just making it less and less special. So people aren't going to want to go see the next Star Wars movie because it'll seem like a cookie cutout.
It's like, and I guess it's just like, just and it's kind of like, what's the point with some of these movies too? It's like, I mean, Rogue One was okay, but it's like after I saw it the first time, I didn't want to see it again. It was like, what was the point?
Yeah, well,
None of these characters were. I knew like none of those characters. I mean, I kind of like that it killed off all those characters, but it's like, but it just kind of seemed like the whole movie was pointless.
yeah, but to count on Gorgonite's response, I want them to do what Rick Moranis wants to do for a Spaceballs sequel. Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
Just make it a complete joke.
Yes. Because that's the only way he'll come back to be Dark Helmet in a sequel to Spaceballs.
That's pretty damn. I gotta admit that is pretty funny.
Yep.
But then again, like the whole idea of a sequel was a joke anyway.
Yeah. They always talk about it, but they never follow through.
Yeah, I think that's just the big joke that Mel Brooks is playing on everyone. He has no. It's a movie he'll talk about making, but he's never actually going to.
Oh yeah, because John Candy died.
Well, yeah.
Joan Rivers died.
I don't know. I think even when they were alive, he had no intention of ever making it anyway. It was just supposed to be a big joke.
Yeah. Which is why the movie was the prospective title is called Spaceballs 2: A Search for More Money.
Yeah, exactly. That's the joke. You suck, McBain.
Although they did do that Spaceballs animated series.
Oh fuck! I forgot that was a thing.
You knew it was gonna be a mistake when they put on G4.
It was like anyone from the original movie even involved in it a little bit?
Just Mel Brooks, but he did not write it.
How did anyone talk him into doing that?
Big bags of money.
It's a shame it didn't make any.
Yep. But again, they put on G4, the channel where you put things on if you don't want it to be seen.
Kind of explains why almost nobody saw Black Lagoon.
Yep. The only shows that actually did well for G4 was X-Play and Attack of the Show.
Both of which, if I remember correctly, are reality shows.
Well, more like entertainment-based shows. X-Play was a game review show that was basically very similar to how Nostalgia Critic does reviews.
But it was about it. Wait. You're absolutely. That's how it was. Like not.
Yeah,
if it was I think you're sure not more like say AVGN.
So I haven't really seen his videos, but
really,
but basically right now, basically what Nostalgia Critic is doing right now is what X-Play used to do, because they used to have skits.
Oh,
even while reviewing.
Okay.
Such as whenever they did a Zelda review, they brought in an intern character, a writer character by the name of Drunk Link.
All right.
And this was also back during the big Extreme craze, so they had a character named Johnny Extreme, who basically was the epitome of everything to the extreme.
That honestly sounds really stupid when you say it out loud.
Yep. What it was pretty funny when they did they did a skit with a Johnny Extreme game. They
Mhm.
review it and gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, which he complained that it wasn't even extremely bad.
Attack of the Show. What was that all about?
It was kind of a entertainment type of talk show. It was the show that Olivia Munn started off on.
Really?
Yeah, she was a co-host on there. And she left to start her Hollywood career. So I guess in a way, you could say that G4 actually did start something.
I guess. Like I said, but the only thing I remember from G4 was that it was the channel they put Black Lagoon on.
Yeah.
And I think other anime as well, too.
Yeah, it was
I
something that
wonder,
they
why would you put an anime like Black Lagoon on G4? Why not put it on Toonami or the Adult Swim block? Well,
because
actually, I can see why you wouldn't have put it on Toonami. But why
yeah,
not put it on Adult Swim?
they
I mean,
because
you'd have to censor pretty much every other word that comes out of Revy's mouth, but
because G4 thought I paid enough for it.
that's interesting to me. It wasn't good enough for Adult Swim, but it was good enough for G4.
And yeah. You there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, you cut out for a little in the middle of a sentence.
I was saying Black Lagoon wasn't good enough for Adult Swim, but it was good enough for G4.
Well, G4 probably had money at the time. They'll probably have Black Lagoon sometime. But I knew that G4 was destined to fail once they did their movies that don't suck series. And they had Batman Forever on there.
Oh man. Does anyone even remember G4 at this point?
I don't know. It was just a failed channel that tried so many different ways to make money, but ended up failing. At the end of its run, it had nothing but cops and cheaters.
Wow, that's just sad.
Yep. Anyway, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the bathroom.
All right. And I'll double check. I'll take a look at the chat, see what's happening.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Oh, Oxstar, you showed up. How you doing? Tech bullshit talk show with mix of game news every now and then. Yeah. I don't think G4 was a channel I actually got on my package, but who cared? All right. Yeah, it's kind of a shame you just popped than when you did Hawkstar because you missed a lot of good stuff, like talk and how it's interesting how G4 seemed to have money enough to get Black Lagoon. Oh well. That's no big deal. You can catch it you can catch the archive when it's over. Yeah. Actually, I think I remember. Wasn't there a show on G4 that had Morgan Webb on it? I think there was. Does anyone remember that lady? Actually, who am I kidding? Man, I pretty much established that no one really remembers what went on in G4.
Oh, hey, our viewers doubled.
Yep. Yeah, one of the people from my Discord, Hawkstar, showed up too.
Oh wow, that's cool. Hey, Hawkstar.
Well, it's my RPG Discord, not my Changeling Discord. Different thing. Totally different thing, but yeah.
Well, I think that we're going to have people pop up from there from time to time.
Well, duh. It's like, only now that I finally got the strike off my channel. Actually, what would be really great is I could get super chats, but I'll take what I can get at this point.
Yeah, and also Gorgonite, it's so sad what happened to Ice Hustler in later years.
Yeah, here's something I think I remember about G4. I think it had a show that was hosted by Morgan Webb. Do you remember her?
Yeah, that's X-Play.
That was it. That was her show.
Basically, it was a show that was co-hosted by Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb.
Huh.
Yep. Until Sessler left the show during the final years of the network. But basically, everyone who's watched X-Play said that the show was better back when it was on Tech TV.
I guess they kind of understood what the show was about better.
I think mainly it's because Tech TV was more of a hands-off kind of management, while G4 enforced rules.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. So they'd get into trouble a lot of times and would actually parody the channel's methods.
Standard and Practices Department.
Yeah, such as they were basically G4. One of the things that G4 used to do was run ads during the show was playing. So they would parody that in their reviews, where they'd have the tiny sidebar from the G4 ads just pop up every once in a while and be annoying.
That's funny. I think I remember there was a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror that sort of did something similar as an opener. Had those little animated ads in the corner of the screen. Had ones for like Prison Break House and something else. I can't remember. It was on Fox as well.
Yep.
I can't remember. And what happens is that Marge just gets fed up with them being there, so she just kills all the ads, and then bakes them into a meatloaf.
Yeah, unfortunately, X-Play wasn't an animated show. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure they would have done that.
If they'd done that, I might have given it some edge. That'd been funny as hell.
Although, apparently, G4 did not like Edge.
Sheesh. You know, actually, there's another thing I want. There's another thing, like going back to Adult Swim. I do not get why Eric Andre is so popular. Have you seen a single episode of that show?
Nope. I barely remember who Eric Andre is.
It's just the thing with the Eric Andre show is like it's supposed to be all this surreal kind of humor and shit.
Huh.
It shows the one where that you know that one meme with the guy who shoots a guy and then he says, "Why did he do that?"
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. That's Eric Andre.
Okay.
That's kind of what the whole show's about. It's all like being like surreal and stuff, nothing kind of random and off the wall. But there's one skit he has where he's like delivering a pizza ball, and it's literally a ball made of pizza.
Oh boy.
And he's just yelling, delivering a pizza ball, delivering a pizza ball. It's like
I hate life.
There was like a show that was actually similar to that on Adult Swim that was around the same time, and believe it or not, it got better ratings.
Really? Huh.
Sam Hyde's $1 Million Extreme World Peace.
Okay.
Yeah, not kidding. Like when World Peace was on, it was actually pulling in better numbers than Eric Andre.
Huh.
But it only lasted one season, and well, that's because let's just say Sam Hyde got himself in trouble with the media for apparently being quote unquote alt-right.
Oh yeah, now I remember what happened. I remember him.
Yeah. It's kind of to the point now where like the only way you can watch World Peace is to pirate it.
Which is odd if it was oh no, never mind. It's because alt-right bad.
Exactly. Even though even though the validity of it is kind of questionable, like I don't know, it's still though one of the funniest things with it was I've seen Sam Hyde do though. You ever seen his TED Talk?
No.
Okay, so his TED Talk, what Sam Hyde's TED Talk is, he shows up and he's dressed like a Roman centurion, but he's supposed to be from the future.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how all these things are going to be a thing in the future. Well, one of the things he brings up, state enforced homosexuality.
Oh geez. You know something? That's actually done. That was actually done in a book.
Well, I need to hear.
Okay, so the book, The Forever War, has these soldiers that are basically go through different time periods in the future because of how time dilation works. So when the characters come back to Earth for the first time in decades, they find out to prevent the world population from going overboard, the UN has taken over and enforced homosexuality.
And I bet that's a book that ends up on the banned list.
Well, it also you'd probably think it gets a lot worse too, because as they go further through time, it's become basically a flip where being gay is right and being straight is wrong. And then
I can't tell if this book is. I can't tell that you haven't told me if this bookie is playing it straight or not.
It's playing it straight. And
really, it's not supposed to be like satirical or anything.
Nope. The only thing it's supposed to satirize is war. But here's where it goes overboard.
Okay.
There is a way to make gay people straight.
Wow.
And later, Hoxter. And
yeah, Bevan. Glad you showed up. Have a good time.
Y'all know something funny?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know who John Scalzi is?
Maybe? Remind me.
Basically, he's a male feminist of science fiction writing, and recently got a multi-million-dollar deal at Tor to produce a series of books. He got into a feud with John De La Rose.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's one of his favorite books. He's one of the big SJW writers, and he cites the Forever War. He even wrote the introduction to an edition of the Forever War too.
Foul what?
Yep. So apparently it's under the radar for it, at least until the planned movie adaptation goes through, and they're gonna go and cry out that it's homophobic, and then John Scalzi will distance himself from the book.
He'll disavow it. And...
Yep. Oh boy, that was that's gonna be a wild ride.
Jeez, and here I thought the most politically incorrect book I'd heard of was Men Are Better Than Women. Although that's Dick Masterson's book, that is actually satirical.
Yeah, it's really funny how the Forever War is a serious book, science fiction book with the realistic depiction of time dilation, and it's got the whole whole story arc of how humanity's turning gay, and there's a way to turn gay people straight.
It's just like
it's
one of those things like you can't that's like they're playing that at that sounds like something that would have to be like satirically, like you could not how would you get away with playing that straight?
I don't know. I really don't know. But then again, this was also written in the 70s. It was.
Now I get it. Like, that's what I thought. Now it makes a little bit more sense, because if someone had written it today, yeah, there's no way it could get book like that. No way would get published today.
Yeah, but still, I'm surprised that there's so much support for it in the far left circles when Orson Scott Card gets in trouble for his beliefs on homosexuality, and yet have that translated into all of his books being about that.
When they're not. I mean, although, to be fair, I haven't even read Ender's. Fuck, I haven't even read Ender's Game, and even I know that's not in the book.
It's really funny how that turns out.
Yeah, it is. It's like it really is. But then again, it's like SJWs, they're not consistent.
No, they are not. They were, funny enough, I think they were also upset about the reboot Sulu being gay.
The what?
Yeah, the Sulu in the reboot movies, he's gay.
No, I mean, I knew that. It's just like they were upset about that too.
Yeah, because George Takei did not like it. Which I actually have to agree. For once, I agree with George Takei. If they wanted a gay character in it, they shouldn't have made it Sulu because Sulu is a different person from him. The moment they made Sulu gay, it meant that Sulu is George Takei.
Yeah, you're pretty. Yeah, you're right. And then it's because I mean, like you watch. I mean, if you watch Star Trek and then you look at George Takei, you realize they're two different people. It's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think he kind of felt insulted by that. It's like,
Oh yeah. Especially when in the original series, you could tell that there was some that he had a crush on Uhura.
uh, hey, there you go, interracial relationships. You guys like that, don't you?
Well, let's see. The only real interracial relationship that was on Star Trek was. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna make the obvious joke of a guy who, if you're a woman, he'd want to have sex with you, and that was the kind of person that Gene Roddenberry was.
Are we talking about Kirk or Riker?
Oh, Gene Roddenberry.
Oh, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Aren't you surprised? Aren't you surprised that?
I'm not. I'm not, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's basically you don't want to. You find out things about the people who work on the things you enjoy, and you find out that they don't have that. If they don't have that larger than life aspect of them, it usually means they don't have the right kind of PR because Gene Roddenberry had basically he had spun his own image.
Oh, this was supposed to be a comic stream. Seems like we spent more time talking about Star Trek.
We talk about Star Trek, politics. We kind of suck at keeping on track with topics.
Well, it's because with comics, it seems like everything that can be said about them, everyone else has already said.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I mean, like, we can't talk about our own comics because then we run the risk of spoilers. And at that point, what's the point of? And if we give away spoilers, what's the point of people buying them?
Yeah, although I'm gonna say that maybe we should start doing some promotion. Maybe when we have a much larger audience, we should start pushing indie comics.
Yeah, we probably. No, I'd agree. Like when we've got, like, yeah, we definitely should.
Yep. It's there's a lot of really good indie books out there.
You aren't kidding. And I mean, like all these up and coming creators, they're gonna be the ones who give the industry the shot in the arm it needs.
Yep. And then you've got the people who were going around saying that the comics industry should die. Although
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that anyone who says that the comic industry has to die, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they probably aren't comic readers. Just maybe. It maybe
Just maybe.
maybe some of them could possibly be jumping on a bandwagon because they think it's going to make them money.
Possibly. I mean, like, why else would you say something so blatantly nihilistic?
Yep.
Unless you're a Rick and Morty fan. But I'm tiss.
Yes, they give plus 150 IQ points because they watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah. And you know, pretty much, yeah, that's this. Wubba lubba dub dub.
There's one comic that I find again. It's the Star Trek X-Men crossover.
Oh yeah, it's goofy as fuck, but
Kirk trying to seduce Phoenix. The two McCoys.
yeah. I mean, good. All I can say is good luck, Kirk. Logan's been barking up that tree for years, and he's never gotten past Scott.
Well, he gave up immediately as soon as he found out she's married. Hey, unlike Logan,
considering that being a married woman that there's lots of cases where Logan can slept with married women.
it turns out that Captain Kirk has shame. This is makes you wonder what's going to happen in the next decade or so.
Fuck, who knows? I think the only thing I want 10 years down the line is to at least like just have a body of work I can look back on and say, yeah, I made that. And I feel proud of it.
So basically, unlike some people that work in the current industry, you can be proud that you did something.
Yeah. Yeah, not like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, I could. That's something I can take. It's like I don't need all the fucking con appearances. I don't need all the. I mean, the sales would be good too. I mean, like the fact that people buy it and like it, yeah, sure, that's great. It's just, but more than anything, I just want to be able to love. I want to be able to get to that point where I can look back and say, yeah, this was something I made.
Yep, you made something, and you'll never have that taken away from you.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of what everyone when he wants to make comics wants. They just want to have that sense of accomplishment.
Yep.
Fuck, even the SJW writers want that. They want to feel like they did something.
Yeah, which is why I do feel bad for them. But their attitudes make it hard for me to feel bad for them for very long. And Gorgonite, I don't. Will the kids love changing the flamethrower?
Changing the flamethrower to what?
Changing the flamethrower. Gorgonite Emissary just did a Spaceballs. I. Oh, good. It'll be a guaranteed hit for children, especially when you're in Michigan, where it snows all the time during the winter, and you might get cold, and the governor might make do a state of emergency for negative 13-degree weather.
Out in Washington, the only thing that we have that comes close to, actually, I think we did have an actual state of emergency last summer with a forest fire.
Yep, that I can actually see as being something worth it because you're so close to California, where they were having their fire problems.
What were you saying?
Oh, you're so. They were worried that you'd be another California.
Yeah, in fact, I think like there was, I think a couple years ago, there was a forest fire that traveled all the way up from California.
Yeah, but the problem with the thing is, Washington isn't California. You guys don't have the same policies that California does.
It's not for a lack of trying, mind you.
Oh, I believe it. How about still?
Yeah, like, I'll just say what I always say. If Seattle drowned beneath the ocean, this state would improve overnight.
No doubts. Although for Michigan, it seems like the only thing that could cure the stupid would be if people weren't running for the same old parties.
I don't know. Well, then again, didn't Detroit like have the same mayor for over 60 years?
Maybe. Believe it or not, I'm not very familiar with Detroit's politics, aside from them being all Democrats.
I think they did. Let me Gorgonite, I'm going to tell you what Dylan tells me. Portland doesn't exist. Yeah, Detroit mayor, 60 years. 60 years. Let's take a look. Because I could have sworn I remember that somewhere. I don't think it was. 60 years of Detroit. I don't know. I type it in, about the only name that pops up is Mike Dugan.
And I think he's the most recent.
Yeah, he is. He is. Nah, preceded. Maybe it's the guy. David Bing. Was that him? No.
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 Maybe it's the whole thing that Democrats have been in charge of Detroit for the past 60 years.
Maybe that's true. Okay, maybe that was it. I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't remember. There was a guy who was mayor of Detroit for life. Maybe it was a different guy. Hmm. I'll say this though, Mike Dugan's Wikipedia page is interesting. It says received national attention for being the first white mayor of the majority black city since the 70s. So
Well,
now Detroit has turned into Portland. I mean, not Portland, Baltimore.
yep. Although I think the whole thing, it's probably because a lot of the people, I think, have been really disgusted by the set of mayors that we've had.
Oh, please. Oh, please, dude. I don't think any mayor Detroit has can top Ed Murray for just how bad a mayor can be.
Have you ever heard of Kwame Kilpatrick?
Okay, what'd he do?
Basically, he's in jail right now for giving jobs to family members, throwing parties in the governor's mansion, having strippers in the mayor's mansion, and and he's tied to the death of one of those strippers because there was this. Apparently, there was this one stripper who was at Kilpatrick party who got into an argument with the mayor's wife. A few weeks later, the stripper is gunned down. The detective who was investigating the murder was removed because what he found out was that the kind of bullets used in her death was the same kind of bullets that the Detroit Police Department used.
Anything else?
There's probably a list of things.
I don't know. I'm still thinking you can't top Ed Murray because, Ed Murray, he was before Jenny Durkin, he was the mayor of Seattle. He got outed for molesting his 13-year-old son.
Jeez. Let me guess. They tried to go with coming out as gay.
Oh no, he ran as a gay candidate.
Okay then.
No, that was the whole thing. That was why it was a big deal that he got elected. He was I think it was Seattle's first gay mayor.
Mm.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There was a lot of other things he did.
Oh.
We'll have to get Jeremy in for this. He could, because I could bounce so much off of that.
So here's something really bad that was said by Kwame Kilpatrick's father about the allegations that the mayor held a party in the mayor's mansion.
Mm-hmm.
He implied that such statements were akin to a lie that Jewish people caused Germany's problems in 1930s, leading to a Holocaust in Europe.
Wow.
Oh boy, it's the Kilpatrick family is such a dumpster fire.
But they give the Kennedys a run for their money.
I think the Kennedys are better at hiding their
dirty laundry.
Yeah, they hide it pretty well.
Okay, so let me put it this way. The Kennedys have worse skeletons, but they're just better at hiding it.
Yep. He compared his critics to a lynch mob.
Wow.
Yep. The coverage of the scandals he called a hate-driven, bigoted assault on a family. Apparently, he was also very close to the now former chief of police for the Detroit Police Department.
I'm sure there's no conflict of interest there.
Oh, and internal affairs investigators were fired by the Kilpatrick administration in retaliation for investigating the mayor and their superiors.
Jesus Christ. It's like, wow.
Yep. I mean, you've got murder involved with this. You got this is the making of a Hollywood thriller right here. Murder. You have scandal after scandal. You have corruption. And apparently there were more than 14,000 text messages between him and the former his former chief of staff.
God damn, wow.
So I guess he's Bill Clinton if he liked older women.
That is just insane, man.
Yep. That's why Detroit is in such trouble.
And Kilroy Graff says, unless you're Ted.
Yeah, well, he had a murder, and he could be linked to that murder.
Yeah, there was no way they could cover that up.
The body was in his car, literally, at the bottom of the...
There's just no way there's just no way you get around that, man.
It's almost like someone said, I told Ted, I'll bet you couldn't get away with that. Ted just goes, oh, watch me. Which, technically, he did. All it did was torpedo his presidential campaign. He remained in Congress until his death.
God. So I gotta seriously contest. That's what Ethan said on the Dick Show about how if Kennedy were alive today, he'd be a Republican. I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah, there's a difference between what a person believes and what a speechwriter tells them to say.
That's why you judge a person not by their actions, not their words. Because you go by their words, anyone can sound like a complete fucking lunatic.
Yep. And boy, are we some of the biggest lunatics on YouTube.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. How many times have I made jokes about the fact that you're Asian?
Lots of times.
You just did it right now. You did the Yellow Man voice.
Yep. Yellow Man Dad.
Yeah, we're good. Actually, no. Actually, huh? There's a good question though. You're only half yellow though, so.
Would you believe that there are people who think I'm Mexican?
I can. I mean, like that. I guess I can because I happen to know for a fact that Vietnamese people can either be very pale or very tan.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to say that because on the Preston Olympic scale, yellow is just as close to white.
Well, it's close to white because Asians have the gall to, you know,
be successful.
yeah,
And not
and
victims.
work hard and work hard and, you know, have high IQs.
Yeah, yeah. I
Also,
mean,
anyone who wants to say that IQ tests are made that the education system is made for whites. Here's how I call bullshit. Do you know who scores the highest on IQ tests? It's not white people, and it's not Asians either. Asians score second highest.
much shame from that.
What?
Much shame from that.
Yeah. Yeah, the people who score the highest in IQ tests are Jews.
You know, there's a bunch of racist people who say that Jews are just as white as others.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Jews are white the same way Aboriginals are black.
I'm just gonna say that this whole SJW way of thinking of a certain race being bad, that's the same kind of thinking that led to the Holocaust. Or
Pretty much, yeah.
or any kind of genocide.
Pretty much, yeah.
And of course, we're gonna get another strike for that comment.
Fuck! I just got my channel back. Well, I mean, fuck, I got my ability to stream back. I mean, I could still upload videos. Now I'm gonna lose. Now I'm gonna lose my ability to stream, and oh no, I'm even gonna lose my ads too.
Let's just hope that nobody sees this. I mean,
well, nobody ever does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that's if I've got anything to feel good about my channel, it's that people only come here for the werewolf videos. They don't care about anything else.
Yep. And
although which is amazing to me because my werewolf videos are full of very politically incorrect memes and jokes.
As long as you don't talk about what Tetley calls himself for his knowledge of Transformers. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to be even more responsible for a strike.
Yeah, God knows how we met. God knows all the shit we said over on Dan's channel is amazing, and we didn't get that one hit with a community guideline strike.
Probably because he's got so few subscribers in comparison to yours. You've got what, 1,000?
2,000.
2,000.
I got over 2,000.
Yeah, they're not. They're going to. Yeah.
2,000 subscribers, but dude, people really come here for the werewolf videos. Those are the ones that get the views.
Yeah, but Count Kilroy Graf is here for the comic talk, which we're definitely feeling. We're definitely feeling
because I don't know. It's like we're not really that plugged into all the comic news because it's like most of it is kind of the same these days. It's like, oh, Marvel's fucking up this character. Marvel's fucking up that book. DC's doing something stupid. It's like it's all been said. Like everyone knows it. It's like what more can be said for them at this point? It's like
I'm just really surprised at Second Coming they were going to talk about. They were going to have nudity in that.
What, Batman Damned?
No, that that comic that everyone's talking about, Second Coming.
Oh, that.
Yep. Apparently, they were going to have nudity in it.
I don't even give a sh.
I'm going to go out on them and decide that DC realized that having Jesus naked in a comic would not be very good.
Apparently, it was good enough for Batman Damned.
Yeah, but they'd get.
Although they did take it out of reprint.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How well do you think Christians are going to take a nude scene with Jesus Christ?
Well, speaking for myself as one, I would not find it terribly offensive, but yeah, I can see why. It's like, let me put it this way: the reason why I don't find it offensive personally, is because Jesus was nailed to a cross and beaten with cat and nine tails. Like, pretty much the worst that could be done to him was already done. It's like showing his circumcised penis is like tame by comparison, in my book. But yes, I can see why others would be.
Yep, and it's going. They're probably gonna be over the top on it because they're not very good writers working on it.
Yeah, Mark Russell, the guy who made the gay Snagglepuss comic that apparently Mim Headroom thought was good.
Huh. Well, I found out something interesting.
Well, actually, I think the only reason why the gay Snagglepuss book was actually good was because the editor sort of reined in Mark Russell.
More than likely. You know, I think it was interesting about the Star Trek X-Men crossover.
What?
That years later, the writer of that book would get into argument with Ron Mars over some petty stuff that Ron Mars is complaining about. I'll look it up again, despite the fact I don't want to see any more Ron Mars tweets ever again.
I don't blame you. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just okay. So basically, Ron Mars tweeted out "worst week ever, racist," and Scott Lobdell asked if he needed a spoon or something to help remove that brain tumor.
God damn, Scott.
Basically, his entire argument was that the next tweet after Ron Mars reply saying that he didn't know what it means. Scott's next reply was, "It means you're daily I'm morally superior to world rants are tedious and unoriginal. Let your work speak for itself." And then he continually said, and then Scott just continues on talking about how unoriginal the stand of racists are bad, or in how he words it, racist and bad.
That is fucking funny.
Yep, and the last thing that Scott replies with is, maybe you just need to think deeper thoughts.
Maybe he does.
Oh, man. Especially when it refers to Ron Mars as pompous.
not gonna lie, I feel a little bit of schadenfreude from that.
You know what I find it's interesting about when we stream?
Yeah.
All together, we do 4 to 5 hours worth of streams every Tuesday.
Yeah, we do.
Anyways,
why is that? Now, why is that interesting?
Oh, never expected to be the type of person to stream that for that long on a day, even with the long breaks in between. Who knows? Maybe
Like I
one of these
said, I'm
days.
not. Unfortunately, I'm not. Unfortunately, we're not the Kumite. We can't go for 8 hours.
Yeah, Meeting of the Minds used to go for 8 hours straight, but that's because of all the people who were on the stream.
So it's like just people just kept showing up.
And talking, yeah.
What? I gotta wonder, has there been a record set for the longest stream yet? There has to. Someone's had to have tried it.
Well, every year for Extra Life, there are people who stream for 24 hours straight.
Let me take a look. Record for longest. I type in record for longest, and the first two results are field goal and government shutdown. I just find that funny.
Yep.
The longest uninterrupted live webcast is 150 minutes and was achieved by Lifestyler TV in Cologne, Germany. It ran from February 13th to February 19th in 2011.
Well, the Germans are crazy.
Longest YouTube video on the planet is by some guy named Jonathan Hartchick, and it's 571 hours, 1 minute and 41 seconds, and he says, "I challenge anyone to try and make a longer video."
How? Without getting boring.
I don't think that was the point. I think he just did it just to see if he could.
Well, you could technically do that if you're displaced together.
A photograph of his trip to Chile.
What?
Chile.
Was it?
To Chile.
You kind of roboted.
Say what?
You went robot on me. So, could you repeat what you just said?
It's just a slideshow of his travel photos from a trip to Chile he took.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe we were to take. I think I know how to make a better, longer video. Record all of that, and then put in an extra minute.
You make it sound so easy. He said the challenge. The article I've dug it up from said the challenge he found was the compression.
Well, do you remember in the first Captain America movie how the challenge was to get the flag down from flagpole?
Yeah.
Nobody could get. Everyone assumed that was going to be a climbing kind of exercise, so nobody got it.
It's kind of the same as like it's kind of the same with the test from Men in Black. Like the first, like where there's that written portion of the test, and like there's just one table, and no one else but Jay thinks to use it.
To suit the little girl with the quantum physics book.
Well, not just that. It's just like
it actually showed that he could think on the spot. And
well, yeah, true, but not just that. It's like I said, like I'm talking about like the beginning of the test where they had the written portion, and like everyone just tries to use their use their chairs to sort of like to have a service to ride on, because there's like the one table on it, and Jay's the only one who thinks, "What? I'll just use it. It's hey, the table's there. Why don't I just use it?"
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of the test.
The whole what made that test that was actually brilliant was that it was not what the soldiers were expecting. They needed a little bit of what they needed was the ability to observe their surroundings and see what was the ordinary.
Well, yeah, it's just it's testing perception and thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Also, Count Kilroy said like manga's become the superior vehicle for storytelling for comics, which I don't know. Like that's something I'm gonna have to sort of. I'm not sure how well I agree with that, just because manga is such a different. It's a wholly different industry from a different country with a different culture that has different sensibilities.
Yeah, and
it's like I don't really think you can really compare comics and manga all that well. It's a Venn diagram scenario. Like there's a little overlap, but there's just so much that's different about them too.
Yeah, I don't think a comic could also. Don't think that a comic could have a single battle go on for entire issues.
Nope.
It's. I think the average comic reader will probably find it boring rather than exciting to have a fight between two people go on for entire books of 22 pages each.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of comic creators should, and the industry at large, should probably get a couple ideas from manga, because there are ideas worth taking from there. But as far as like adapting the model wholesale, what works for them isn't necessarily going to work for us.
Yeah. Basically, it's all about understanding what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, like, like I said, going back again, like manga just has a different audience. It comes from a different culture. It's just a different market and industry altogether. It's like,
yep.
It's like comparing American horror to J horror. Like there's just so much. Like even though you can find things that are similar, there's just so much that's different. Like just so much more that's different.
Yeah, and you can see that way. You can see how J horror doesn't really apply itself well when it's retold for a Western audience.
I saw a video that said The Ring and The Grudge kind of did a good job. The Grudge, especially because it was had the same director.
Thought was directed by Sam Raimi. Is that wrong?
Let me pull that up because that's what I saw. I'm gonna double check that. The Grudge.
Okay, you're right. It was directed by the same director.
Yeah, Takashi Shimizu.
Yeah, Sam Raimi produced it.
This is interesting. Oh wait, there's Sarah Michelle Gellar. Never mind. No. But yeah, like I said, The Ring and The Ring and Grudge were good attempts, but it's just like something kind of still. It's like something sort of gets lost in translation. It's just like it can't be a perfect adaptation.
No.
It's kind of like even though I really liked the 2014 Godzilla movie, there is something that there's just something in Shin Godzilla that makes it feel more authentic.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that little bit of that little touch that that an American film company just can't really replicate.
No, and as we found out with Ghost in the Shell, an American, or at least a Hollywood studio, can't replicate a philosophical film very well.
At least not the kind Ghost in the Shell is.
The only one who could have done a good adaptation of it would probably be Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's just like it's kind of the thing when you sort of just bring in media from another country and another culture. It's just like, and then you try to adapt it to fit a more Western palette, and it's just something just kind of gets lost.
Cultural differences.
Duh. And guess what? That's not a bad thing.
Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, it's like because honestly, like when you try to do that, what sort of made that, like I said, like kind of like when when you try to adapt a Godzilla movie, like sort of what makes it special kind of just gets lost. Well, which is It's funny for me to say that considering, like I said, I like the legendary Godzilla movie. It's like, I mean, but even though I liked it, I really liked it. It's just like, and King of the Monsters looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah, I just have a bad feeling about Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's just like it's just that little Japanese touch that an American just can't, or a Westerner in general just can't replicate. It's like it's just something that Japanese people get, and it's not a bad thing.
No.
That's what makes it unique. That's what makes it special. In my argue, that's kind of how it should be.
Yep. But there are some adaptations that shouldn't happen. Like, for example, that Death Note adaptation.
Yeah, you're probably right about that one.
Then again, I wasn't really a fan of the original Death Note, so I have to say that any adaptation would be too much.
So it was never really going to interest you anyway, huh?
No, unfortunately, but it happens.
Mm. All right, so let's check the time, see how long we've been going. About 2 hours.
Yep. So, is this when you want to wrap up?
Yeah, I'd say that's good.
Yeah, 2 hours seems like a good time. We're not one of those big streams that people find interesting to watch for hours and hours and hours on end.
God, and how does anyone pull that off?
I have no
I'm
idea.
just amazed by that.
Huh. Oh, hey, on another note, Rags has gone. I just saw it saying, tweeted out that they're about to break a record of having a whole week without drama.
Huh. Yeah, bet Brian feels pretty good about that. All right, so yeah.
Yeah, so
We'll see you get drugs. Yeah, that's the perfect line to end this on. The answer is drugs, yo.
the answer is not doing drugs, just so you guys know, so that we don't get struck down for encouraging drug use, especially from someone who's writing a 14-year-old character. Shame on you.
Oh, for crying out loud! People can't tell when a joke is clearly a joke.
All right, on that bombshell. Good night.
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm just gonna say YouTube's awfully hypocritical to strike me down for that when they let Andy Worski snort coke on camera.
Wait, did he do that?
Okay, maybe not. I thought. Wow, where the fuck did I hear that from?
It's probably something you expect him to do.
Yeah, you would expect him to do that, but yeah. Don't. Okay, so yeah, I'll remember that. Don't do drugs, yo. See ya next week.
See you next week, guys.